Let's get honest for a second. Have you ever felt shame around money? Like, no matter how smart or capable you are, you keep hitting the same money blocks? Maybe you watched your parents argue about it. Maybe you were told it was greedy to want more. Now, in midlife, after divorce, a career shift, or a reinvention, you're still carrying the weight of those old stories. But what if money wounds leaving your body and healing them could change everything? Welcome to Midlife Butterfly. Let's dive in.
Midlife Butterfly, a woman in the sacred in between. She's not who she once was, and not quite who she's becoming yet. She's unraveling, awakening, remembering. She's navigating life transitions, divorce, loss, reinvention, moves, with a burning desire for freedom, joy, and soul-led living. She feels the pull to rise, to fly. She is no longer afraid of her own wings.
I am so thrilled and excited to have this time the pleasure of having Nadine Zumot, which is a friend and also was my coach, my money coach. So I am so excited to have you here, Nadine. Um,
Oh,
so
thank you.
so Nadine is a certified money coach and somatic practitioner who help coaches, creatives, and mission-driven humans heal their relationship with money so they can earn more, stress less, and live out their boldest dreams. Nadine was born in Amman, Jordan, has lived in Australia, France, and the US. She currently resides in Albuquerque, Mexico, New Mexico, with her partner Tommy and their fur baby Arby, which is adorable baby dog.
No.
And Nadine brings deep financial expertise, lived experience, and trauma informed magic to every conversation. Her specialty? Helping people unfuck their money patterns with compassion, clarity, and just the right amount of cursing, which I love. By the way, her podcast is Unfuck Your Money. You can have a listen
Thank
to
you.
it. It's gonna be added to the show notes.
Oh,
So glad to have you here, Nadine. Thank you so much.
thanks for having me.
Mm, I would like to start first with your story. What brought you to actually become a money coach?
Well, I am just very good at money, but I wasn't always good at money.
Okay.
So I grew up with a lot of scarcity. Money was very scary outside the house and inside the house. We had a lot of things happen politically, geopolitically, and economically around us in the 80s in Jordan. There were wars everywhere, and my dad was very strict. And money was used to really manipulate us, to control us. And when I finished university, I kind of realized that I cannot escape money, that it's
Okay.
actually going to be that thing that I'm going to have to understand. So, like every other overachiever does, I studied the heck out of it. I studied money. I wanted to just control it so it doesn't control me. So I was in my 9 to 5. I was reading all the personal finance books. And honestly, like my dad was strict with money because we didn't have much of it when we were growing up. And he was really strict with every JD, every cent, right? And he taught me a lot about money. He taught me a lot about it, but perhaps in uh maybe too much for a little
Mm,
child to learn about that much money because I grew up with an underspending money block, which we're going to get into later on.
mhm.
And that actually got worse because I left Jordan when I was 23, 24. I went to Australia and I was really on my own. So it was just me and money. And I was trying to live my life in the most responsible way, and I was overly responsible. And then fast forward, I don't know how many years later, maybe 15 years later, I started my business. And that changed the whole relationship dynamic with money because it went from something that I needed to control to something that I needed to kind of allow magic to happen. And that is how I started learning about inner child healing and how our early childhood experiences has a lot to do with how we relate to money in our later in life. And I dug into all of that stuff and became a somatic practitioner, still studying to, to be fully certified in that, but I am, certified to some degree. And this is what I do now. I do this full time. Lucky for me, I help people unfuck their money, as you put it, as my podcast is called, Unfuck Your Money. And I do it in a very holistic way because not only am I happy to help people with the nuts and bolts and the numbers, but I also help people with their relationship with money, as in like them money are in a relationship and I'm the relationship coach kind of thing. That's how I would like to say it. So we do inner child healing. We do a lot of emotional literacy because most of our financial decisions are actually emotional, not logical. So I won't be fully holistic if I'm only teaching them about numbers and call myself holistic, right? So teaching them about the numbers, but equally teaching them about how to process emotions, how to talk to their inner child, talk to their different parts and their archetypes. And you know that, Kenna, we covered that a lot inside of my
Yes.
programs. And also doing a lot of nervous system work because a lot of times it's not about how clever we are with money. It's not about willpower. It's really about dysregulation. And we will definitely get into that throughout this episode.
Yeah. Thank you. I love how you said, like when you were talking about your story, that you didn't want to allow money to control you, and I think that's such a powerful statement
Hmm.
because we are so unaware,
Yeah.
or at least I was very unaware how
Hmm.
controlled I was by money and how it
Yes, I
affects.
remember.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
remember. I
crazy.
remember when we started. That was in 2023,
Yeah.
and I remember how things shifted very fast for you when we were uncovering that stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah. I
It was
remember one of.
magical.
Yeah, one of the biggest, yeah, I remember when we did actually our story about money. That was a
Yes.
very powerful
Hmm.
practice that we did. That I guess we can also talk about it a bit later
Of
as well
course.
for,
Hmm.
for people to know what is it. I would like to dive in first with the question to know which is the difference between money block and money wounds.
I don't think that there's a difference.
Okay.
The word wounds, it refers more to trauma, but the word blocks really refers to the behavior, I would say. But
Oh,
it's
okay.
same, but different. Like
Uh-huh.
when I say money blocks, I don't know about other people. A lot of people use a lot of things out there, the wild, wild internet. I don't care. But for me personally, the wound, it refers to the trauma, like what's the under, like that
Okay.
the submerged bit of the iceberg, and
Uh-huh.
the block is really the behavioral pattern. But a lot of
Okay.
people, I was talking a lot about money wounds, and a lot of people were like, I don't know what that is. And when I started talking about money blocks, which is pretty much the same, I just changed the word, people
Uh-huh.
started relating more. So it's
Oh,
just
okay.
a matter of just changing a word. But
The words.
really, what they both are
Hmm.
protective patterns. They really are
Okay.
protective patterns. This is how our nervous system keeps us safe,
Yeah.
right? Even though they sound or they can look to the naked eye, they can look like bad money habits, but really they're very protective patterns. And the way that we deal with them is very different to the traditional financial systems out there. So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I really love your approach. I just said that is a holistic way. I love it
Mhm.
that so much because I mean, we definitely are body, mind, and soul, and we need to take care of all these parts of us while doing this
Yes.
process because money plays a big role in our lives.
It's playing a bigger and bigger role. I don't know if it's because we're getting older and we're noticing or because the world is changing, but I feel
Mm.
like money is becoming more of a thing that can be used to control us. So that's why it's very important to take a step back and take and do like have a holistic approach to it. Um, that is going to really heal your relationship with it so that you can actually be with it, not in it, if that makes sense. You're not like
Yes.
controlled by it, but where you're actually working with it as a companion as opposed to the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And
So like taking a holistic approach will really help you take a step back and assess and actually put down your standard, how you want the relationship dynamic to be, right?
Mhm.
Instead of just being swept away by the status quo.
Mm, yes. And that comes related, I think, a lot, or at least for me, money was a
Mhm.
lot related to my self-worth.
Definitely.
So, how does actually healing our relationship with money you know, can directly impact our self-worth or vice versa? Because as you said,
Well, well, restoring our sense of self-worth, it requires multiple components together. It requires defaming. That means like releasing the idea that there's something inherently wrong with us. It requires this self-forgiveness, a lot of self-forgiveness for the way that we cope, for the way that we survived because we didn't know better. It requires letting go of inherited stories, letting go of stories that say that we're bad, that actually weren't ours to carry in the first place.
yeah.
It also requires reparenting and really learning how to talk to the inner critic, not silencing it, but understanding where it's coming from to choose a new voice, to choose a better way to relate to ourselves. It requires a lot of nervous system regulation as well. So we can feel worthy in our nervous system, not just like affirm it, in our brain. It also requires that we reclaim our desires, that we actually sit down and say, what do I want? Because a lot of times when our self-esteem or our self-worth is low, we don't actually allow ourselves to have desires. Or maybe because of our trauma, because of our past, we were taught that having desires is selfish. It's actually not, it's actually sacred. And also boundaries. To reclaim our self-worth, we need boundaries, and we need to surround ourselves with allies, with people that love us, to be in safe co-regulation and not being judged. So these are the things that I would say people need to start rebuilding their self-worth. And once that is happening, and it's a practice, right? It's not an
Yeah.
not like a one and done kind of thing. It's a practice.
Yeah.
Your relationship with money is just going to change because you're changing from the inside out. And our relationship with money is an internal relationship. It's not just
Definitely.
an external relationship. So that's the long answer.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a beautiful answer. Yeah, and I remember when I was in the program with you, and coming back when I did the story of my
Mhm,
money, my money
mhm.
study, and I noticed that a lot of stuff didn't even come directly from me. They were
No,
patterns, they were inherited, like
they weren't
having a
yours.
no, they were not. They were not mine. I remember, like, just by noticing that, well, my grandfather arrived to Mexico from China when he was like 12 years old. So just thinking about that was just like
Mhm.
it was like a breakthrough for me to understanding, like, okay, so that's why a lot of scarcity mindset patterns, and it also came
Yes.
from my mom's family. So
Yeah.
understanding those patterns, it really helped me a lot. And as you said, because I
Mhm.
thought there was something wrong with me, and it was like,
Mhm.
no, it's just things that are passing to us without even knowing.
Yes.
So, uh, questioning how our parents and then the people behind them actually
Uh-huh.
had the relationship with money, it helped me a lot to heal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel like I carry a lot of like misery baggage from my lineage. I
Mm,
don't know for a fact, but I just feel like there's a lot of hard work that was in my lineage, a lot of hard work.
mhm,
And that's probably what I'm carrying as well, that money just comes from hard work, or actually we just need to work hard, full stop. And
mhm.
like money is just something that's going to be hard as well, right? Like
Yeah.
that's probably my own story from my lineage. So
Mhm.
it's good to understand what our stories are, what has been passed on to us, and what's not ours to carry.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
What are some common money wounds or blocks, as we said, that show up more like for midlife women?
Mm.
Especially like after divorce or a career shift or a big life change that they may have.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the four most common money blocks that I see, and that's my industry. And then you tell me, because that's your industry. Yes. Of of what you think are the most common for women in transition. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good? All
Sounds
right.
good.
So from my work, years and years and years of working, and you know me, I'm a nerd, so I study things. I don't just like look at information. I actually study and I investigate and I go deep inside of everything. I have concluded, very safely concluded, that money blocks come in four forms. There's the overspending money block, the underspending money block, the avoidance money block, and the overgiving money block. So these are the four money blocks. And to answer your question, maybe I'll ask it back to you. What do you
Mhm.
think is the most common one? I feel like all four of them would be common depending on the person's money story, the person's circumstances, the person's own past and history with money. I think all four of them would apply, don't you think,
Yeah,
to
I
women
think
in
so.
midlife?
Mm-hmm.
Especially the overgiving wound, I think for women, especially
Ooh.
regardless of midlife or not, or in
Mm-hmm.
transition or not, I think the overgiving is just
It's a
prevalent
it's a
in,
women thing.
yeah,
That's the program.
it's a femme thing. Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
The overgiving one is like the most socially acceptable one because people are like, oh, you're overspending. Oh no, you need to look at your money. But I think the underspending and the overgiving are the most socially acceptable adaptive mechanisms because they're all coping mechanisms, they're all adaptive mechanisms for
Yeah.
to stay safe and kind of like survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I would say all four of them would apply to this case to answer this question.
Okay. Yeah. It resonates a lot for me, the underspending.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, we want to have the house and everyone to be okay or whatever. So we tend to prioritize others instead of
Yeah,
prioritizing ourselves.
yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
I remember when I was married, like if I would go to a store or something, or if I would travel because of work, I would think first about buying something for him that for me,
Hmm. Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
How,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How can childhood experiences impact our relationship with money as an adults?
It has everything to do with childhood experiences. That's my take is that how we relate to money now has a lot to do with what we've gone through in childhood. Not necessarily directly with money,
Uh-huh.
but whatever we've experienced in childhood and how we internalize our sense of self-worth, how we internalize our sense of belonging, our sense of acceptance, what we learned about conditional or unconditional love. This all has a lot to do with how we relate to our finances later in life. So you tell me how you finance, I could probably help you connect the dots to your childhood, which I did, by the way.
Yes.
But that's kind of my jam kind of thing. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. Like, can you give us, I don't know, like an example?
So with your example, you said
Yeah.
you had the underspending and the overgiving wounds, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So when we did your money history and your money story and all that,
Yeah.
what, how did we go back and how did we link it to your own sense of everything when you were a kid?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was definitely my sense of unworthiness.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the
That,
thing is, it's not that your parents, I don't think that your parents were like, you're unworthy. Some parents do tell their children they're
yeah.
unworthy,
Yeah.
but
No, it was super
it's
subtle
that
with me.
it's very subtle, right?
Yeah.
Because it's as simple as you go to the shops and you ask for something, and maybe they really don't have the money for it, or maybe you have too much of it. Whatever it is, they say
Hmm.
no. But it depends on the day and which side of the bed you you woke up on,
I
right?
woke up.
It's so temperamental. It's for real though. We can internalize this like, oh, my cousin has it and I don't. I must be no. I must be a bad girl. I must be unworthy. I must be, I don't think we would use the word worthy or unworthy when we were kids, but it must be like something's wrong with me. I'm bad,
Mhm.
you know? So a lot of times, because I would imagine that we all grew up with imperfect parents, they're humans. They might
Yes.
be exhausted, they might be drained, they might be tired, sick, not available, anything, or emotionally immature. Let's just put it this way.
Hmm.
A lot of what they or how they related to us relationally is going to tell us a lot about ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So that also translates into our relationship with money. Let's say you grew up as a single, with a single mom, right? Your mom had to work all the time. And let's say that you needed her to help you with homework. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm tired," or something. You could internalize this as my needs are too much. And you grow up as a people pleaser, or you grow up with no needs. I'm somebody that has no needs. And what happens to
Yeah.
your money? You just give it to everyone else, right? Like you earn your money and you overgive
Yeah.
it. Or you earn your money, you underspend it. Like you keep hoarding it and you don't enjoy
Hmm.
life because you don't even know what you want. You don't even know who you are. But it's not like the one incident. I don't want to scare people. It's usually a bunch of incidents that
Hmm.
happen. It's just not the one. Maybe it's the one. We don't know
Yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
trauma is very subjective. It's not objective. It's what happens
Hmm.
inside of you as a result of what happened to you. So it's not about being overly sensitive or overly anything. It's really how you took things, how you internalized things, how things were presented to you, and so on and so forth. It's so like no two people that have the underspending wound, for example, had the exact circumstances growing up, or no two siblings internalize the same trauma, let's say, because
Hmm.
each person digests things very differently.
Yeah. Hmm. You know what, when you were giving the example, it reminded me to, I have a cousin, we have the same age,
Hmm.
and her mom is a single mom. Like us,
Hmm.
we're three siblings. And sometimes, yeah, as you said, like I will ask for something and then probably my mom will say, nah, no, not now, or whatever. And I remember this very case, I don't know, probably we were like 7, 8 years old, something like that. We went to this store and then we like this little, like a little booklet, So they said, okay, we're gonna buy them. Of course, there were a lot of, with the cover, different designs and whatever. And I finally chose one. And she also wanted the same, how we are,
Hmm.
right? And then at the end, if I'm not wrong, I actually end up telling her, okay, you can take this one. Because she used to have like the way my aunt, and she still is, again, it's history, right? Like we need to heal it or we don't heal it anyway. So in this case, like she will overgive to her all the time, I guess,
uh,
because
yeah.
of the fact that she was a single mom. She wanted to
Hmm.
give everything else to her, right?
Hmm.
And so she will spoil her to a certain level too. And at
Hmm.
the end, I remember I just needed to give up the little booklet that I loved to, for my cousin, so she will be okay because she was having like a tantrum or something. And then I just showed something else. But at that time, I mean, I didn't know. How am I gonna know
Hmm.
that, that my cousin was acting that way because of how my aunt, treated her for being a single
You're
mom.
not you're not meant to know. You're not meant to
Exactly.
know, yeah. And she probably didn't know at the time.
No, of course. And she probably doesn't
Mhm.
know at this time either. But that's what I mean. Like, and it's as you said, it's how we internalize or how we interpret the different situations that we experience, and then from there, how we think and how we start, as you said, like being the people pleaser, or having all other these other protecting mechanisms, or things like that.
Sorry, I had to turn the light on. It was getting really dark at my
Oh,
end.
it's
It's
okay.
it's nighttime here. Yes, I
That's
I
good.
really resonate with that because a lot of times what we do is we compare, but we all
Yeah.
compare, right? Even
Yes.
now we compare, but when we were kids, we would compare, of course.
Yes. Ay. And how can we start shifting, our little inner critic? or protecting parts. I know you call them protecting parts, and I love that
Yes.
because I remember when we went through the archetypes, it was like just by seeing them are as a protecting part and understanding that they have a role and
Hmm.
it's okay and we have them all in a certain way or another,
Yeah.
and welcoming them instead of rejecting them because they are part of us. um, yeah, that was very very healing for me, certainly. So
Oh,
yeah, how can we then start then just shifting that little critic, like saying, oh, I'm not good with money, or as you said before, like I have to work hard to be able to have money, to start
hmm.
shifting those tough wires, in,
Yeah.
in our
Well,
mind.
let me tell you something. As we're speaking, it's May right now. I am currently putting together a free program. It's a 5-day mini course on how
Okay.
to do exactly that, on how to reset your finances, how to reset the way that you think about money, how just to shift
Okay.
everything.
Hmm.
So, but by the time this goes live, hopefully I'll have a link to the program in case somebody wants to join it. It really takes you step by step. So the first thing I would say is I can't help you if you're not aware that you have these patterns, right? So the first thing is if they're listening to this, they probably are aware that they have something going on. So let's just assume that.
Yes.
Although
Let's
I
assume
don't make
well.
assumptions, but let's just say. So the first thing I would do is I would try to be as close as possible to what my money blocks are. Which of the four money blocks do you resonate with the most? The undergiver, the overgiver, no, so the underspender, the overgiver, the overspending, or the avoider. It's usually a combination of a bunch of them, right? But there is going to be a primary one. So we start there. So we uncover what your primary money block is. The other thing I would say is you really need to have an aligned cash flow system. We cannot just do the emotional work without the logical work with money, right? We need to do them in tandem. We
Makes
cannot
sense.
just say, we can't just do all the emotional work, which I love, but we need to do it hand in hand with the logical work because the nuts and bolts of money is important. They are very important as well. So you need to find an aligned cash flow system. The one that I teach is the bucket system. I walk you on how to set it up for yourself in the program.
You still use it.
The other thing, you still use it?
Of
Yay,
course.
that's brilliant. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh my God, that's
It's
it.
it
My work is done.
no, it's very useful. I mean,
It's
just
awesome,
to, yeah,
right?
it is
I've been
awesome.
using mine. I set mine up 20 years ago and I never had to change anything. I've moved countries, changed banks. It's the same system. All I need to do is just like copy and paste. It's great.
Yeah.
The other thing is oh,
Sorry, can you give a little brief to people so they can understand what is this?
well, yeah. You basically, you know how if you have a drawer and it's full of clothes and you get these like IKEA dividers and you put these dividers in and then all of a sudden your drawer has like a section for knickers, a section for bras, a section for t-shirts, and a section for pants. Let's just say it's a very big drawer. That's exactly what we do with your finances. Usually when people start working with me, their money is all piled up in one bank account.
Yeah.
So we use their journal, use a spreadsheet, whatever rocks their boat. We kind of like look at their expenses and then we divide these expenses into sub accounts within their main bank account. This way they're not mixing and matching their finances. They know that this money is earmarked for bills, this money is earmarked for groceries, so on and so forth, and for savings, etc. So it's really a really cool way to organize your finances. And I'm a Virgo, so I teach it very well.
Yes, I know
I
you
teach
do.
it very well.
And you know what? I have to say this that, yeah, having those buckets, as you said, just knowing that the money is there, that I'm not
Yeah.
gonna spend it if I have it in my main checking accounts,
Yeah.
is such a relief.
It
Seriously.
is, it is a nervous system friendly way of
Oh
doing
yeah,
money. Definitely, definitely, definitely.
definitely. Yes.
The other thing I would also say is to start, having a better relationship with money is that you need to learn how to set proper money goals. The money goal systems out there are not nervous system friendly. They can be really sexy, or they can be really smart, or they can be whatever you want to call them, but they're not nervous system friendly. So I developed a system so I looked at all the money traditional goal setting methods out there, and I applied the polyvagal theory on them, and I now teach a system that is stress-free. So you need to learn how to set goals that are achievable, because that is very healing. When you set a goal for yourself that you can achieve, it is a very, very healing thing that you can do for yourself. The other thing is, of course, the inner work. The inner work is the inner child healing. It is understanding your emotional landscape, understanding the main emotions that come up when finances are happening, and understanding what are the emotions that you're actually scared of. Because when we're scared of emotions, when there are emotions that are a no-no for us, that's when we distract ourselves with shopping, right? So we need to understand what emotions are okay for us, what emotions are not okay for us, what emotions drive us to overspend, for example, or underspend, and learn how to process these emotions, because every emotion it's a system. It's a whole like system in your body. You need to learn how to process it out. The other thing I would also say is you need co-regulation. You need a therapist, a coach, or a practitioner that is going to take you through, or you need a safe space to kind of digest and integrate all this together. You cannot do this alone. You
Yeah,
really can't.
I totally agree.
You agree. I tried,
Yeah.
even me with my knowledge, me and my training, there are some certain sticky money blocks that I need someone to help me with.
No, yeah, definitely. Because again, money plays a big role in our lives, like every single day. And if we are afraid, like for me, it was the scarcity mindset. It was just so insane that, like not buying something or using things in less quantity because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want it to run out of them very
To
fast.
finish, yeah, or like
It's
when you like something and you buy buy like thousands of it, so that you never run out, and then like a year later you're like, why the hell do I have all that?
yeah, that too. Or even sometimes, like I remember with my ex-husband, like at one point we would have a budget for, for the groceries. And then at one point we kept growing in our jobs. We were making better money, better quantity of money. And we stood with the same amount of money for budgeting. And then we didn't want it to spend more in things
Hmm.
that we actually wanted to eat. And it was like, and that was one of our reasons of our relationship. And I know it came more from my side, that scarcity mindset, but it's just crazy how we limit ourselves by having a bad relationship with money. And we stop
But
really enjoying life.
how did that protect you though at the time?
Mm, that's a good question.
I'm full of them.
Yes, I know. How did my scarcity mindset protected me?
Yeah.
It was a way to feel safe.
Yeah.
It was yeah,
Of course.
it was really that. Because
Yeah.
I felt like if I would run out of it, then I will not have enough then for food or for rent or for, other things that I needed to cover.
So there is and was some wisdom
Yes.
in that, right? There is
Mhm.
a wisdom in it. So we
Yeah.
cannot poo-poo all over it. We can't.
Oh, no, no, not at all. No, no,
Mhm.
no. And I know it was there for a reason,
Yeah.
you know. So
Hmm.
yeah, again, like yeah. So understanding and healing that, it's so liberating.
It is. I
Yeah.
understand. Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I interrupted you for the steps that you were saying that are
No,
going.
I was done.
No? Oh, okay. I just wanna double check that I just didn't cut you
I was
off, but
done.
okay. That's good. Yeah. What are some signs that our nervous system is dysregulated when it comes to money?
Well, there's a lot of signs. So, what do you know about the nervous system responses, Kenna?
Mm. For me, it was the freeze response.
The freeze response.
Oh, yeah, the freeze
So,
response. Yeah. Well, for
the
me, it was
nervous,
the main one, but yeah,
the
I know
main one
it's,
was the freeze
yeah, we,
response.
we
Yeah,
have the flight or fight. And which I'm missing one. Uh,
that's okay. So, our nervous system is wired to protect us, right? It doesn't care about us thriving, it just wants us to survive. And the way that our nervous system protects us is through four mechanisms: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Okay. So the thing is, when money, because of our past, when money triggers danger in our nervous system, or if our nervous system is already activated, already dysregulated, we, I'm going to use the word misbehave, but it's not really what I mean. We act out with money.
Mm.
So in the fight response, our nervous system is activated towards control or even aggression. And that financially can look like hustling nonstop, like you have to earn your worth. It can look like obsessively tracking money or micromanaging every penny. It can look like rage or irritability when we're dealing with money issues. It can look like getting into conflicts about money with clients, with your partner, with your friends, with yourself. I asked a client of mine once, like, who do you have any arguments with money? And she's like, with myself. And feeling like, I'm hyper independent. I'm going to figure it all on my own. I don't care. I don't need anybody else. That is signs that your nervous system is in a fight response when it comes to finances, or it is already is in fight response and also in finances. You know what I mean? It's like one thing that leads to the other. The flight response, it looks like the avoidance, that run away from money kind of thing. Avoiding your bank account, avoiding the bills, avoiding your any emails about money, dissociating or like going away or changing the subject when the topic of money is coming up. Overworking or taking too many projects because you're scared. That's a flight response. Always chasing the next big thing, the next big what's it called? The next big launch or the next big, I don't know, idea without finishing anything. Feeling like you always have something new pop up. Also being a manifestation junkie. Also like always looking for manifestation to come and save you. You're running away and you're like, oh my God, I can't look at my reality. Manifestation is going to save me. Okay. The freeze response is when our nervous system is shut down or overwhelmed, and it can also look like avoidance, but it looks different because the flight response, you're actually running away from it. The freeze response is total, like you shut down. You're frozen, you dissociate, you're ghosting your money. You feel paralyzed when it comes to doing any financial tasks. You have brain fog, dissociation, even numbness when you try to budget or plan. And any you're fine, right? But when somebody asks you about money, you just really like numb out, like you don't know about your numbers, you don't know anything about them. And then we've got the fawn response, which is when the nervous system seeks safety through pleasing and appeasing. And especially for entrepreneurs, that can look like undercharging or over delivering to avoid conflict, and to make sure that people like us. Maybe we discount our work when we don't really need to or want to. We avoid setting boundaries, especially with like payment plans. When people owe us money, we prefer not to mention it just because we don't want to like rock the boat kind of thing. So I don't think that we're in one response. Like I can't say like you're always in flight response. It's usually a combination of one or the other. Just like I was talking about the money blocks. It's not just like one. It's just usually a combination of them. So yeah.
Ah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that because I think we're not aware. Like we usually talk about the nervous system in, based on stress or, at work or something like that. But
Yeah, definitely.
we don't usually put it into money, into the relationship that we
No,
have
yeah,
with money.
not many
So,
people do actually, but it's important to know these things. So I'm glad that you asked.
no, yeah, definitely it is important. And I can relate to, the four of them. Definitely.
Same.
It
I
was a
mean,
mix.
all of them. I still relate to them. I mean, we're not perfect, right? We're always doing the work. It's a practice.
Yeah, it's definitely a practice. And as you mentioned before, it's about having that awareness to really noticing. And because, I remember one of the things that I learned in when I was working with you was really sinking into my body. Because I
Yeah.
knew a vague idea about the nervous system by then. And when we started like, no, start like feeling it in your body. And I was like, oh my God. Like when I will feel like this kind of like tightness in my chest for, I don't know, having to
Mm-hmm.
spend on something, or because
Mm-hmm.
I knew I didn't have enough money, or, so learning to, feel the body, to understand how my system was working, and then trying to figure out, okay, what is it that then I have to do, or that I can do to then improve that level of wherever I was in the scale of that, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was very, it was very, it was very healing for me to understand that, because I
Yeah.
always put it more like in the mind, because I was really like, okay, the numbers, I knew up to every penny, and my mom still tells me that when I was a
So
kid.
you weren't really in freeze. You were more in fight. I remember
Yeah,
you were
yes,
fighting
that's
me at
true.
some point. I'm like, calm down. I'm not money.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was not freeze. Yeah, it was more fight. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I remember like having conversations about money. It was a big struggle with me. I
Uh-huh.
will know about every penny, and I will have also discussions in fights in my head with money.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how we function as human beings.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes. Um, can money trauma live in our body?
Where else is it going to live? Do you think it lives in the brain? It doesn't live in the brain. It lives in your
Well, I
body.
probably that's why I probably that's what I'm asking that, because I thought it was in my mind, even though now I just said that.
Yes.
Then yeah,
So, as the saying, as the buzzword says these days, the body keeps the score.
yeah.
Your money trauma, your money blocks, they live in your body, and that's why I combine somatic healing with money coaching. I think it's a beautiful, magical combination.
Can you give us an example in that case of what you do as a somatic work with healing our money wounds?
So, when you mentioned that you would have arguments in your head about money,
Yeah.
I would probably, in that case, and we probably did that many times, is that I would slow you down and help you kind of tap into your body and sense into where you actually feel that. Where do you actually feel that sense of fight? And the
Mhm.
body will reveal things. I cannot tell you now what happens because there's like a third force between me and you. There's like a third thing that happens, and it's usually the body just tells us a story. Let's say you can feel that fight in your hand, or you could feel that fight in your chest, or you could feel that as like this explosion in your belly. We'll go there, and once we tap into that, a story will come up, and that's when we start doing the somatic release.
Mhm. Yeah.
I cannot say exactly how it happens because
Yeah.
I've done this a million times, and every time, well, not a million, thousands.
Mhm.
Honestly, every time it has a different outcome or a different story, a different release, it's just amazing what the body can hold, and how
Mhm.
when you learn or when you work with someone that knows how to teach you to speak to your body, how to speak to your younger parts, you can really unravel and liberate yourself from a lot.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I remember a lot that we did a lot of inner
We
work. I do
did,
remember
didn't we?
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
that
did.
little child needed to be heard. I remember that.
Hell yeah.
Um, what are some powerful yet practical first steps that can start doing to heal our money wounds?
That is what I was saying. That's the program that I'm going to be running, that 5-day program.
Uh-huh.
So, really understanding that we have blocks, what the blocks are,
Okay.
creating a cash flow system, doing the inner work, setting achievable financial goals, and doing things with people in celebration, celebrating the small wins, but also like healing with people as well. So that co-regulation, that's my standard. Like these are the 5 steps that, we don't do them in sequence, but these are the 5 things that need to happen to start unraveling our survival responses, to start resetting our relationship with money to where the dynamic is healthier.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I sound like a broken record, but honestly, it's
Yeah.
nothing fancy. It's just that you
Yeah,
have to do
no.
the work.
Uh-huh. No, yeah, and it makes sense. It has to be all of those together.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
yeah, that's the only way. You cannot put the it's as you said, as you mentioned at the very beginning, it's a holistic approach. We cannot just
it
work on
is.
one thing because it's too many things at the same time.
It's definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mm.
And you got to do the work.
Mm.
There's no, I mean, I'm not going to be the one that's going to tell you it's going to be easy. And if somebody is going to tell you you can do it in like, I don't know, 3 months, whatever they promise you out there in the wild, wild internet, it's gonna be long and it's gonna take years to if you really have a lot of money blocks, it's gonna
Yeah.
take years. It really is. It might it doesn't have to be painful if it can be very enjoyable. We had a great time in our program,
Yes.
but it's gonna take a while and it's a
Hmm.
practice. What I mean by a practice, I don't mean that you have to practice it. I mean just like you don't finish yoga. It's not like, a game on the internet of like on your computer when you finish it and you get the princess and you're done.
Uh-huh.
It's like yoga. You always will do yoga. It's the same with money. You will always, always have a holistic money practice if that is the type of approach that you want to take with it.
Yeah. Hmm. You know what? I want to mention something when we were on the program.
Mhm.
Because I remember from my side was the scarcity mindset. And I remember there was another person that she struggled with her money relationship because she had a lot of money in her family,
I remember. Yeah.
right? So it's incredible how it works either side. So it doesn't matter. I do think that all of us we gotta like improve the relationship with money. So it doesn't matter if if people had a lot of money or have less money or had never had
Yeah.
money. Like all of us, it's a relationship that we really need to heal to live better.
That's what I always say. I'm very good at money. It's not because I'm rolling in it. It's because I know how to hold $50 or $50,000 or $500,000. Like they don't freak me out.
Mm.
That is what it actually means right now in this day and
Yeah.
age of like overwhelm.
Yes. Yeah. Mm. Mm. This has been brilliant, Nadine. I really appreciate all your wisdom and your life experience brought in here.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
I don't know if you would like to add something else this call, something that you have want to share, either if it's related to what we have talked or something else, whatever is welcome.
Nothing. I'm just very proud of you, Kenna. You've come a long way,
Mm,
and I'm very proud of you, and I'm proud of your podcast, and I'm happy that you invited me to be on here. And yeah, I just wanted to add that you're doing
mm,
great and you look
mm.
great, and it's
Thank
so
you
good
so
to hang out and talk about stuff.
thank you so much. I really appreciate you and appreciate your words. They really mean a lot. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm very glad for us to have this conversation. And I'm sure I'm going to invite you again so you can talk
Are you
more,
sure it's
go
recorded?
deeper.
Look how I freaked you out.
It is important. No, I checked
I
before.
know I freaked you out.
No, it is. It is. Well, thank you so much, Nadine, again. And we're going to be sharing Nadine's workshop information in the show notes for everyone who would
Yes.
like to join. It's going to be for free. And so you
Hmm.
can start working in your relationship with money so you can live better. Definitely live better.
Definitely. It really,
Yes,
it really affects your quality of life, doesn't it?
yes, it
It's one of
does.
the best things that you can do for yourself is heal your stress with money because it's really gonna improve your life. So,
Oh yes, yeah, it has.
hmm.
It has in myself, so I know, and I know that the work that you do, it's so passionate. It's in yeah, I remember, and like cursing and everything, and I remember it was just like yeah, like this is it. It's just like it's so passionate, so from your core and your heart. and it's just magical. So thank you
Oh,
so much.
Kenna, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
My Instagram is at Nadine Zumot. If you need to connect, if you're going to listen to this episode, tag us, tag Kenna and I on your stories. We'd love to reshare.
Oh, yes. And
I love that.
also, yeah, again, Nadine's podcast is the Unfuck Your Money podcast. So check it out. You're going to learn a lot from there. So yeah. Like
people are like, why do you put everything for free on your podcast? And I'm like, well, who am I to gatekeep? So yeah, the podcast is a great resource.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Midlife Butterfly. If this episode lit a spark in you, hit that subscribe or follow button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you love to listen, so you'll never miss the magic. If you're feeling generous, drop a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps this empowering content reach more souls ready to transform their lives. And don't forget to take a photo of you while listening and share it on your socials. You can tag me at KenasYou so I can celebrate you and your expansion. Until next time, keep spreading those wings and living in joy, growth, and pleasure.